Goblin, and today we're going to discuss and watch Cyberspace Maz's first thoughts on Witnessed by Deepspace, the trailer. I'm actually very, very interested in finding out what her opinion is about the whole wedding banner, because it's this whole like mystical, not really a wedding kind of thing. I kind of want to know what the deep dive is, because I'm like, okay, so if it's not a wedding, is it a dream? Is it something else? Like, what does it symbolize? I kind of want to know what all of those mean. So we're gonna watch this video together, and yeah, let's just jump right into it. We're gonna watch this at 2 times speed, because not 2 times speed. We're gonna watch this a little bit faster than normal though. Playback speed, we're gonna bump it up to like maybe 1.5. We're gonna see how fast that is.
Alright guys, it's been a while. I hope you've all been doing good. Now before we get started with this video, I just wanted to say a big thank you to all of you for your well wishes during my break. I'm doing a lot better now and I'm definitely ready to come back. So with that being said, I'm really happy to let you guys know that starting from about mid-July, I'm going to be returning to my weekly schedule of Sunday videos, and I'm going to be looking at all of the spicy cards beyond the surface level spice. So I hope you guys will enjoy that series when it drops. And once again, thank you so much for your patience, your well wishes. You guys are just the best. So thanks for sticking around, and yeah, I am back. So with that,
welcome back, Maz. I'm so happy that you're back. I'm looking forward to those spicy card deep dives.
Without further ado, let's check out the next multi-banner coming out. Now, this is called Witnessed by Deepspace, and they announced this one during the 4.0 livestream update, and the moment I saw it, I knew I had to talk about it. So, as usual, I will be playing the trailer and stopping at certain points to talk about some of the things we're hearing, some of the things we're seeing, and what's potentially going to be going on in these cards. So a really quick disclaimer before we get started. As always, this is just my interpretation and my opinions, and I would love to see your guys' thoughts in the comments below. So do leave them. I really enjoy reading them, and I really love seeing different perspectives. So let's get started. Now, the first thing I want to point out before we actually do is something we actually see. So I'm going to play the trailer in the background as I talk about it on mute before we really get into it, because there is something I need to talk about and get out of my system. So something I really want to talk about is one of the things we see throughout this banner is the fact that wherever they are seems to be a temporary setting, which leads me to think this is possibly an anomaly in reality of sorts. So remember in the main story, MC has absorbed the spatium core, which has the ability to create new spaces entirely. So she can create new dimensions if she wanted to.
God.
So this could very well actually be her doing. Given that these all seem to be the locations of where the first myths took place with all the guys, it seems like this is connected to some deep-rooted memories of all of the guys.
Oh my god, if that is the case, holy crap. I completely forgot that she absorbed the spatium core. Oh wow. So is this like the desire of MC to get like married to these guys? Like, does she bring them along? Oh, this is so... I like this. I really like this. Okay. Well, fantastic catch there. Oh my god.
It feels highly emotional, and again, this possibly triggered something in MC to do with that core. So this is what I think is going on, given that there are some context clues that these places are temporary, they're not real, but once again, you'll notice that it's all going back to the myths. And one of the things I also want to point out is I think for a lot of these myths, or quite a number of them, it was the very first places they met MC or they fell in love with her for the first time. And I think by going back here to do a sort of proposal wedding banner is incredibly beautiful. And from a psychological perspective, going back to a place that was filled with so much death and despair and filling it instead with love and hope and a new beginning, it reframes kind of their first meetings entirely. And yeah, I think there's something so beautiful about that. So I know a lot of people think it's quite angsty to go back there, but actually I think what they're doing is reframing their first meetings. They're reframing those angsty myths to talk about, hey, let's give you guys a new beginning, the beginning they should have had, filled with hope, love, and all of that stuff. So that was one of the first things I noticed, and I thought that was so moving and beautiful. And yes, guys, I did cry when I realized what they were doing. And one of the other things as well that this reminds me of is Xavier's story branch, which was Voyage of the Outcast. They were actually plunged into a proto-field that looked like Starfall Forest.
Yeah.
So if anything, I do believe this is similar to what was going on there with this. So
yeah, I 100% agree. I was thinking to myself, I was like, oh, maybe this is like a proto-field or something like that. And I thought I was completely like possible, completely capable. So I'm wondering how this is like really, you know, coming together. I'm so excited for this banner. Damn it.
Yeah, I think in terms of location, in terms of the temporary setting, that's what's going on. From a psychological perspective, they're really trying to reframe their awful first meetings into love and hope and all of that stuff. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to point out first. It's one of the first things I really noticed. So with that being said, let's play the trailer now and let's start talking about what each of the scenes with the guys is representing, what they're talking about, the symbolism, all of that stuff you know me for. So let's get started.
You wanted me to fold you 1,000 paper cranes when we were kids. They won't just be in Deepspace. They'll live on in my dreams.
So, Caleb. Now, he says something incredibly beautiful here, and it's very symbolic. So when Caleb says the line about MC, when they were children, wanting to fold 1,000 paper cranes and asking him to do it, this, I believe, actually goes back to a Japanese legend. So I think what they're referencing here is a legend where if you folded 1,000 paper cranes, the person folding them would get a wish. So it's really interesting that when they were kids, MC asked Caleb to do that for her, because I think that their deepest wish was to get out of their horrible lives. You know, MC wanted to get away, and I believe that's what she wanted. So she wanted Caleb to help her with that. So I feel like maybe when they were children and she asked him this, he had it very deeply embedded into his mind that he would do anything for MC to get her away from their horrible lives. And I've talked about this before, where I do believe part of the reason he became a pilot was to get MC away from basically this entire planet, get her far away, get her somewhere where she could be safe, no one could hurt her. And that's deeply wrapped up in Caleb's, you know, feelings for her, is to get her away from all the things that can hurt her. So I think that it was very symbolic and beautiful that it's going back to that, and it's reframing that as, you know, them getting what they want, which is, you know, being able to be together and get away from this place. And again, the setting of the amusement park, which goes back to Caleb's first myth. Again, I don't think I really need to explain that, but it's going back to their childhood. You know, they're trying to relive their childhood. They're trying to just live and be happy. So yeah, I thought that was beautiful. And one of the other things I noticed was kind of the way that the paper cranes kind of fly around them throughout the scene. It feels very ceremonial. So I think it all ties in and fits beautifully with that proposal wedding theme. You know, almost like, to me, it almost felt like a runaway bride on the train with Caleb. I just thought, yeah, they've definitely got those vibes going on there. So yeah,
100% I agree with that. There's also like the whole idea of like going back to the like the innocence of childhood before everything got super complicated, before like Caleb knew exactly like who MC really was and like her importance and how everybody was just trying to go after her and all of that. I feel like, yeah, it's definitely a return of innocence, a return to when things were simpler. I think that's something that is definitely highlighted in like the first myth of Caleb, when there weren't so many things that were so overly complicated that complicated their relationship with one another. Not only the situation themselves and everything surrounding them, but the relationship between these two people, where it used to be so easy, it used to be so fun without it being so complicated. So that's also my input.
I thought this was absolutely beautiful. And I've definitely got more to say, especially about the train motif with Caleb. But let's continue and go on to the other guys.
They won't just be in Deepspace. They'll live on in my dreams.
By Lemurian customs, our covenant has been forged. In return, I'll give you the entire ocean as my gift.
Okay. Raphael. I don't really think I need to say a lot here. Hopefully you guys have played his last myth. If you haven't, or you don't have it, please watch the YouTube videos that I'm sure many people have put up on the myth, and just watch it in its entirety, because it answers a lot of questions about what actually happened during the sea god ceremony when they were back in their ancient days, and it explains just so much. So we finally have answers now that they were never able to complete the ceremony. So this is Raphael finally being able to commit to his bride with absolutely nothing going wrong. And yeah, do I even really need to say, guys, how beautiful that is? It's coming full circle for him. He's finally able to be with her, finally able to devote himself to her properly, and yeah, Raphael finally has his bride. So no angst, no tragedy, just complete and utter joy. And you know what? After everything that they've been through, they absolutely deserve this. So for me, this banner feels like a reward for Raphael. Well, not a reward is the wrong word, but you guys know what I mean. It feels like this is for you, Raphael. You finally get to be with your bride. You finally get to ride off into the sunset with her and just be happy. So yeah, I'm really happy that Raphael finally gets to be with his bride.
Yeah, he finally freaking gets something happy in his really tragic really tragic backstory. Oh my god, this must be like the highlight of his life. His lives. Okay.
I leave behind my own mementos for this journey. I want the moon and the river of stars to witness this moment with us. The avarice.
Okay, so Xavier, just look at this scene, guys. I've said this before about Xavier's cards, I think, but they feel like paintings. And they feel so whimsical and magical, and I think that's just Xavier perfectly. It just perfectly encapsulates Xavier. And one of the other things we need to talk about is just the fact that they're sitting on a crescent moon, and that normally symbolizes new beginnings. You know, it's almost like the circular... not the circular nature of life, but, you know, the cyclical nature of life. And I think that is Xavier to a T. Now, remember, out of all of the love interests, Xavier is the only one who is still the original him. He's not died and been reborn as far as we know. This is still the same Xavier from the past. So this means a lot. And when he's talking about wanting to leave something behind, it's like he wants to make his mark on this world before he disappears. Now, sorry to get angsty on you guys, but Xavier...
Oh my god. Maz, don't start. There's all of this talk about Xavier. This is his last spring and all of that stuff in the community right now. I don't want this to be his last. Oh, jeez. Oh, stop it.
Your story is very sad when you realize he doesn't have a lot of time left to, you know, fix his mistakes, right his wrongs, to save MC and make sure she's safe and always will be, and also at the same time to make sure the universe is safe, essentially. So placing them here in this location, it's absolutely stunning, and it makes so much sense. And also the fact that before we get to Uluru later on in the scene, that they're here, they're traveling. That makes sense that they're traveling through the cosmos together, and it just perfectly suits them. And one of the other things is the flowers on the moon as well, and I think Xavier's flower is a forget-me-not, so it all ties into Xavier's longing to be remembered by not just MC but the universe, you know.
Holy shiitake mushrooms. You know, it is so sad to think that Xavier's gonna go poof. Oh my god, please don't say that. Oh no. This is supposed to be a happy banner. No, actually, no. This game is... I keep forgetting that we call this game Love and Deepspace, but literally it's Love and Depression. This might be the saddest set of cards that we could possibly collect. Just like thinking of just all of the pain that these cards could give us. I am so scared. I am so scared.
Xavier wants people to know that he was here, he was loved, he loved as well, and he cared not just about the planet, his people, but he cared about the woman that he loves. And there's just so much about this, and so much about Xavier's story that's so tragic and beautiful, and I think the writers really do a good job of bringing this whimsical, fantasy-like feeling out of Xavier's story. So, yeah, one of the other things it reminded me of as well, and I don't know about any of you guys, but when I was growing up, one of my favourite animes was Sailor Moon, and the moment I saw this, it immediately made me think of Sailor Moon. I don't know why. There's been plenty of imagery of people sitting on moons, and, you know, cats sitting on moons and everything throughout my life, but it immediately made me think of Sailor Moon, and I don't know why. But yeah, it's, again, very beautiful, and like I said, this could be a painting.
Stars to witness this moment with us. The avarice of my wish is unyielding. Treating all the beauty in this world to make a reality wouldn't be enough, but I want to give you so much more.
So let's talk about Zayne. Now, Zayne says something really interesting here. So first off, let's just talk about the location for a second, because I think when it comes to Zayne's, it is very much deeply tied into his myth, which is the Forcia myth. So if, again, you have not read the Forcia myth, you don't have it, or you haven't seen it, please definitely check it out if you can. The Forcia myth is one of my all-time favorites. It's so tragic and heartbreaking, but it's utterly devastating, but beautiful as well. And if you do not understand Zayne, just get to know him by reading that. You will completely understand.
And that is why I fell in love with that freaking man, okay? His myth made me fall in love with him. Oh my god.
Why he is the way he is, where he comes from.
I cried my eyes out after I experienced the Foreseer myth. Guys, no cap, I wasn't making content yet. I wasn't doing anything. I thought that the myths were going to be happy, and I was not expecting all of the angst. My god, I downloaded this game thinking it was a fun, Gunner game. No, there's so much angst.
And also a lot of information about Astra. So if you're not sure about Astra, this will really give you a good insight into who Astra is and why Astra is deeply tied to Zayne. And especially after the main story update, Astra is making a comeback. So, well, not a comeback, but he's making more of a presence in the main story. So definitely check it out if you haven't yet. It will give you a lot of context. So we're in the fractal library here, which makes a lot of sense. And for those of you that don't know this particular scene, you'll later see them dancing, is a reference to the Forcia myth again. And it's during a scene when they're dancing in the fractal library. And I believe it is really the first time that Forcia falls in love with her, basically. That, for me, is the moment where Forcia really does connect with her. And it's exactly like you see in this trailer. It happens just like that. They are dancing on this snowflake platform. They are ascending into the sky. It's stunning. So definitely check that out. But yeah, so that's what's going on here. But I want to point out what Zayne is actually saying, because again, this ties deeply into the Forcia myth. So here's what he says. Now, he says, just give me a second, I'm going to find it. The avarice of my wish is unyielding. So this might be a hard line to understand, but avarice usually means greed. So what Zayne is saying here is that he craves his wish so deeply it borders on obsession at this point, and it's overpowering. It's something that we already know he struggles to control. He struggles to control his feelings for MC, and that often leads to him making decisions where he's absolutely terrified he's going to hurt her and lose himself in her.
This is all, oh my god, you know what, you're so right. It ties in so deeply with his first myth, because it was his greed of wanting to be with MC that basically put him in a situation where he could no longer, he like betrays his bond with Astra, basically. Oh my god. Okay.
So
good.
Zayne's got all of that going on, and this is him kind of confirming my wishes, my love for you is so deep, I cannot control it anymore. I have to be with you. And he also says trading all the beauty in this world to make it reality wouldn't be enough, but I want to give you so much more. So Zayne is deeply romantic, but he's also very grounded. Now, if we assume that this banner is set in that dreamlike place, or, you know, we're going back to the myth setting, but it's not real, then Zayne actually knows this almost simulated perfection isn't enough. He feels inadequate in the face of their love most of the time, but not in a self-pitying way. That's not Zayne at all. And you see this in the main story. It's because of his deep desire to give her everything, but he knows he can't give her everything, and that really bothers him. So in a way, Zayne would rather choose the reality, no matter how imperfect it is, because that's where genuine love lives. This is beautiful and all, but it's not real. And Zayne would rather work through all of the difficult obstacles at this point to give her something real.
Oh my god, that's beautiful. That is beautiful, because, yeah, I mean, a perfect love, you know, it doesn't exist. Something that is born for, like, almost like if you think about fated mates, right? If these two people, they see each other and they immediately fall in love with one another, they never fight, they never struggle, they never learn lessons about each other. They're just simply together, and that's because that's what destiny had decided. But without going through all of the hardships, all of the trials of a relationship, all of like learning about one another in that like deep way, it doesn't create those like stronger bonds, you know. Knowing that you can go through hardship with a partner is something that makes things stronger, in my opinion. It's like it's hard to really understand. I feel like it's like, oh man, I'm just gonna let Maz talk.
Deserves that. She doesn't deserve a faked fantasy. And no matter where that leads him, no matter what sacrifices Zayne has to make, he wants her to be happy. So he'd rather do that in the real world. Although this is a beautiful setting, and I'm not saying he's not happy to be here and he's not indulging in it. Of course he is. But at the end of the day, for Zayne, going back into the real world and giving her real things is very much him for me. So I think this perfectly captures Zayne. He'd rather build something real. But again, like, he's indulging in this fantasy with her right now. So I think when it comes to Zayne, very deeply tied into the Forcia myth again. And we'll see this later on as well in the trailer.
Reality wouldn't be enough, but I want to give you so much more.
People usually come here to exchange vows. There's something I want to do with you before they disappear.
Oh my god.
All right. So, Silus. Now, again, the setting, for those of you that don't know, they are in the cathedral from his dragon myth, and this is also where they exchanged vows back then. And I think what's really beautiful here is this moment here. Now, I know this has been memed to death by now, but I actually think it's really, really fit for Silus and MC, because what it looks like they're doing here is really contemplating the meaning behind this place. They're in a cathedral where people get married. This is where people pledge their lives to each other, you know, and they're thinking about the weight of their past. And again, it goes back to what I was saying about they want to reframe that first meeting where it was filled with desperation into something more meaningful, something that has hope, something where they know they won't lose each other after they leave this place. So I think that's what's going on here. And again,
Yeah.
the imagery with Silus is always so beautiful to me. I just love the red, that burgundy red kind of color that's always associated with Silus. I love it. And the floating rocks as well. This is telling you this isn't a real place. And he obviously alludes to that as well with what he's saying. And when he's talking about vows, again, it's tied into his myth. So I think we really see a lot of the old myths coming into a lot of these memories with them. But I think especially for Zayne and Silus, we're seeing a lot of that converging.
It's also like the whole setting, right? It's a cathedral, but cathedrals are typically very pristine, very clean, very, there's no overgrowth. But clearly here you can see that there is a massive amount of overgrowth from Silas's flowers. The datura flowers, I believe is how you pronounce it. But it just shows that this place is such an old place with a lot of history that is still standing, still resilient in a way, but has slowly become not its necessarily pristine form of itself, but a form where there is like a natural beauty to it, not a man-made beauty. And almost like it can't be controlled, like the growth of the flowers in this area. It's not being maintained in any way. It's just a natural thing that just happens when a place is old and abandoned.
So yeah, again, incredibly beautiful. And you know what? I love MC's wedding dress here. Silus and MC are special. And it would not make sense to have MC, in my opinion, in a traditional white wedding dress, as beautiful as she would look, because that doesn't feel like her. She's allowed to have her own agency. And if MC wants to choose a shorter dress, she can. I think all of that is absolutely beautiful. And
I also have another thing to say, but the entire myth of Silas's, previous myth, MC is not a woman who is docile, okay? Not in Silas's myth at all. I mean, not in any of the other myths, but especially not in Silas's myth. She was a woman who was basically said to be killed and to be executed because of a very small, simple reason, and she fought back against that. She is a strong woman who decided to go pillage villages, go pillage cathedrals and all these holy cities, and Silus accompanied her because he said, whatever you want to do, we'll do it together, basically. And having a long traditional dress, it's not the kind of character that MC imbues, she is not that long dress kind of person, because it kind of just symbolizes somebody who isn't going to move around as much, isn't going to be put up on a pedestal. This is a woman who will take action on her own, and she needs the mobility. You know what I'm saying? She needs the mobility of that short dress. She's kind of breaking out of those traditional standards of what a woman should be, of what a strong, independent woman could be. And I think that's what her dress also symbolizes, breaking out of that traditional view, because in her eyes, in her past, in this myth, she was supposed to be this traditional woman who would basically what's that word? Concede? Is it concede? Who would basically conform to society, but she wanted to break out of that, and breaking out of the whole long dress. And I'm not saying the other long dresses that she's wearing are ugly or they're less symbolic than Silas's or anything like that. It's just there's a lot of discourse right now in the community about this, and I also wanted to give my 2 cents. It's just that dress fits her character and her character alone. And I think people sometimes forget that this is not a self-insert. This is MC is her own character. So there's that. Okay, we'll continue on.
It really suits her and Silas. But I remember seeing it and thinking, yes. Because I thought if they weren't going to have the traditional white dress, I thought that they may have like a red and black dress for MC. So still traditional, but in a different color.
I actually thought that too. I thought she was going to have a different color dress as well.
So yeah, I really love that they've gone with the short dress here. And if you think about it as well, imagine a real wedding between Silas and MC. Imagine them getting married, immediately having to get on his motorbike and a shootout happening. That would happen. Silas is a wanted man. People are after him. So it would be really on brand for them to leave their wedding, run out, get on the motorcycle, and this dress would help her with that. And she'd be able...
Yeah, I mean, like, if you think about it too, like, if they had a grand wedding like this, that is the one spot that everybody is going to know that they're both going to be there. So it would be the perfect time to send out a hitman and try to get MC and Silas at the same time. But they both know that they have to get out of there like ASAP, and it's just perfect. Okay, it's perfect. I don't know why, guys. Like, everybody's like, there are so many like loud voices who are saying like, I hate MC. I love it. It's perfect.
To carry a gun. I know that's a silly thought, but that's another thought I had when I saw it. I thought that is really, really like so on brand for them. So yeah, I think again, this is absolutely beautiful and it really does suit them. So a few other things I want to point out. Let's continue.
People usually come here to exchange vows. There's something I want to do with you before they disappear.
I want to share every adventure with you in the future with this new role. Is that okay?
I really like that Caleb talks about having this new role. He's really stepping away from that obsessive, protective, older brother vibe, and he's really stepping into this lover role. Instead of being that kind of protector, he wants to be a different kind of protector, and he wants to be the kind that is able to enjoy things with her. So in one of their other memories, I can't remember the name of it now off the top of my head, but in one of their other memories where Caleb was sick and MC was forcing her way into his room to look after him, she talks about wanting to be by his side, not behind him. This is kind of alluding to that as well, where Caleb is now realizing he does want to be with her. He wants to be with her for every single adventure. He doesn't just want to lock her away in a room and to make sure she's safe. He wants to be with her to experience life. Because what kind of life can MC have? What kind of joy can she have if he constantly locks her away? That's not a life she's living. And I like to believe that Caleb is realizing that now, at least here in this card. I'd like to believe that he's now realizing that in order for MC to be happy, she has to live. And if he wants to protect her and he wants to keep her safe, then he has to live with her by his side. That's the only way he truly can get everything he wants. So I really like the way that he framed that in stepping into this new role.
Yeah, I mean, and if you think about it, you know, like a marriage, you're going into a life together, side by side. So this is like the perfect moment for him to really say that, stepping into the new role thing. Oh my god, I'm having so much fun. Okay.
With this new role, is that okay?
I want to witness every flower bloom in our future together. Will you give me that chance?
Okay, so this goes back to the Forcia myth.
God.
For those of you, again, that don't know.
I have my own thoughts about this. I think I've said it in a previous video, but let's see what Maz says about this, because the whole flower blooming thing is very symbolic. Okay, here we go.
At the end of the Forcia myth, there is a field of jasmines that blooms. Each of these jasmines represents every life that Zayne has shared with MC, and there are loads of different lives he's had with her. And when Forcia remembers that, the flowers bloom. So what he's saying here is he wants to live every single life with her. He wants...
See, look, it's so beautiful. I'm sorry, I'm flipping out. I love that symbolism. Like, it's so perfect. And it's just like, it's puzzle pieces that fit perfectly together, and it makes me so happy. It makes me so whole. It makes me I'm so happy that we came to the same conclusion here. Oh my god.
To live 1,000 lives with her. So this is all going back to the Forcia myth, and yeah, that's what's going on here. That's what he's saying, and I've said this a million times. This is such a beautiful banner. Everything happening here with all of the love interests is so beautiful and so very much like each of them. Each of the writing teams that they have for each of the love interests, if that's what they have, they know these characters inside out, and you can feel it. So yeah, this is what's going on with Zayne. This is why he's talking about flowers blooming. He wants to live every single life with her. He doesn't care. He wants to be greedy. He wants it all with her. And side note, just look at the way they're looking at each other. Now I know we always focus on the way the love interests look at MC, but look at the way MC is looking at Zayne. Look at this. She just looks beautiful, and she really looks like she loves him here. I really love this shot. This is one of my favorites, I think.
I know. Me too.
Will you give me that chance?
So, is it possible for you to stay with me until the end of time? I won't want...
I don't really need to explain Xavier here, do I? He's talking about her staying with him till the end of time. Now, remember in my Xavier video, I talked about the fact that Xavier was too late to save MC and she died in his arms, and that deeply affected him. And you can see how that's affected him in a lot of cards of his where he doesn't want MC to go, where he's terrified she'll just disappear in front of him again. And this is one of those moments again where he's wanting her to commit to him, and he wants to make sure that she will never ever disappear from his life. And until the end of time, I mean, again, this goes back to Xavier being deeply connected to time, space, and everything. So very on brand for him.
Till the end of time, I want more memories of us. Until they fill our future. And you?
If this vow...
Okay, something I really love about what Silus says here is he talks about wanting to have more memories in the future for them. So I think given that he's talking about wanting to create memories in the future means he wants to look back and remember these moments with her. He wants to remember all of these, not the sad, tragic past that they had, that we've now learned in the main story, by the way, that he had a very traumatic upbringing as well, and he lost her. It's one of those things where I think it's very clever writing. And what I also love is the fact that he says, and you. I know that all of these guys are asking MC to be with them, to give them a chance and all of that stuff. But for Silus especially, I love the way he frames the question as, and you, are you on the same wavelength as me? Now remember, these two share half of each other's souls. So naturally, she will be feeling exactly what he's feeling. But it kind of reminds me of the fact that there is that level of agency and space he always gives her. I don't know, it just reminded me of that. And I thought that was a really, really interesting way to phrase it. Very, very Silus.
Yeah, it truly is very Silus. And I noticed that too. I was like, he always asks her what her opinion is, what she wants to do. He always gives her space to make a decision for herself. And I think that is like the strongest way of showing that you respect somebody. And Silus is just the epitome of that. And I just love it.
And you?
If this vow actually represents eternity, will you give me the chance to prove myself worthy of your devotion?
Okay. I think what's really beautiful here with Raphael is he's asking her to give him a chance to prove he is worthy of her. So forget about the bond that they have is what he's saying. He loves MC. He wants to choose MC, and he wants MC to choose him. Not because of their bond, because they want to be together with each other forever. So he wants to prove that he is worthy of her. He sees her beyond somebody who has put a Lemurian bond mark on him. None of that matters now. It is about just Raphael and MC as the people they are. So I loved this. It was beautiful. Perfect way to ask that question for Raphael.
Yeah. It's also like how I said like fated mates before. It's the whole like, do you really love me, or is it just because we have a bond? So that's like the whole contradiction here. And I really liked how they pointed that out and had Raphael say something to kind of just show that it really is true love. It's not just because of the bond. And that's always been a question in like different like book talks and stuff like that. Like, why do you like fated mates? They don't deserve to be with one another. They don't have that deep connection. But here, the writers are proving that they have a deep connection beyond just the bond that they have.
Give me the chance to prove myself worthy of your devotion.
Very quickly, I'm sure you guys all noticed, why does Silus take both hands? It goes back to the myth. So again, guys, I think before getting this banner, if you're going to pull for it, go back to all of their myths and remind yourself what happens in them. Because this banner is basically rewriting their myth stories into something.
I am truly hoping that these banners are just going to be happy banners, because they're so good at putting like angst in all of these like touching moments and stuff. I really hope that these will give us some sort of like break from all of the angst that's happening.
Beautiful, but there's so much imagery and symbolism from them that they're still borrowing. So the two hands that Silus takes, that's what happened in his Beyond Cloudfall Myth, that's what it's called. Beyond Cloudfall Myth. So that's actually what happened there. He took both her hands and they made a vow to each other in the cathedral. So this is happening again, but this time it's more about hope and love. Yeah.
Aren't we already doing that? The future is right now. Adventures that only existed in dreams have become today's reality.
So, this is why I believe this is definitely some kind of proto-field, or MC has done something with her spatium core, because look at where the train is going. It's going out of this perfect dreamlike scape. So it feels like they're going back into reality here. And we see this imagery again, I think, in Silus's later on. But yeah, this is why I feel like it's heading back towards reality.
Yeah.
And there's something about the train symbolism as well that I wanted to point out with Caleb. So when it comes to trains, I think when it comes to symbolizing them as part of relationships, so if you're comparing relationships to almost like train rides and journeys, they have ups, downs, stops, and unexpected turns. It feels very much like them and their relationship. Trains can also derail, and that's the thing with them. This feels like it's very apt for Caleb. And they're also on one track. They're going to one place. There is a final destination. So to be able to see them both get on the train together, whereas in all of his cards, we often see Caleb getting on a train and MC watching from the platform, or MC leaving to go on a train and Caleb watching from the platform. It's nice to see them both be able to get on the train together. I just think that's really symbolic that they're taking the journey together now on the train.
That's actually a really good catch, Baz. I really like that. That was a really good one. Oh wow, I didn't think of that. That's really nice, especially the whole derailing thing. Wow, and the fast, like how fast these trains can go, or how slow that they can go. It just that's really nice symbolism. Actually, I didn't think trains were actually a symbol of Caleb, but now I'm kind of thinking like, yeah, it is. Huh.
Now, another thing is there's something about missed opportunities. Now, as I've been getting to know Caleb and watching his stories and his cards, I kind of noticed there was something about, time really escaping them. If they don't do something now, they can never be together, kind of thing, So in one of his myths at the end, where he just kisses her in one of the cards that we have called Exclusive Aftertaste, they were talking about not being able to sleep. And he was basically trying to push MC to tell him that she couldn't sleep because she couldn't stop thinking about him. And he actually brings up the thing with the apple, where he kind of takes the apple and he says, if delicious things aren't eaten in time, they become stale. So,
oh my god. Yes, like that. Exclusive Aftertaste, I think, is, if that's the name of the card, is my favorite standard card for Caleb. And yeah, it's so impactful. It's so like telling of how much Caleb is so ready to be in a relationship with MC, but MC is still like trying to figure herself out. It frustrated me, but it also made me think of myself in many different scenarios.
I feel like there's a lot of that with Caleb here, where it's about this whole thing of not missing your stop. Don't miss your stop, or don't miss your train. Don't miss the chance to get on that train and go to one destination. Even though trains can derail and the journeys can be scary sometimes, don't miss your chance. So I feel like that's what's going on with Caleb when it comes to the train imagery and symbolism. But yeah, it was just nice to see them get on a train together, guys. That's all I really wanted to say. Sorry for that strange tangent, but yeah, them getting on a train together, getting out of this dreamlike scape. It's beautiful.
It totally wasn't a strange tangent. That was so necessary. I actually genuinely like that.
Let us make a vow in a sea of jasmines. We'll always see the flowers bloom together. I wish to be the person who's always by your side when you find happiness.
Okay, so that I don't need to explain that because I explained that earlier, but the Sea of Jasmines, wanting to watch them bloom together, he wants 1,000 lives with her. And one of my favourite things about this scene is just look at the way
Person who's always by your side when you find happiness.
I'm going to play that one more time for you guys. I love the way he pulls her in.
Who's always by your side when you find happiness.
So something I've noticed about Zayne and the way he kisses MC recently is he can't get her close enough to him. He needs her closer than this. And I feel like that's why the physical intimacy side of things with Zayne is so important. Like
she goes, because that's her first freaking video talking about how Zayne is just like this physically needy person. Like he needs MC to be like close.
He cannot get enough of her. Like she is never close enough to him. And one of the best ways to showcase love for him and to show how much he wants her so close to him is that physical intimacy aspect. So I have noticed in a few recent cards he's really pulling her in towards him now. Like he wants her so close. She is not close enough to him no matter what he does. So yeah, his desperation and longing for her is really coming out now.
No matter where our journey takes us, let the stars be our witness. Our vow shall endure, protect the universe.
You know what? Just thinking about how Zayne is pulling her in closer now and like all of the cards and whatnot, I am kind of nervous that that is going to blow up somehow, one way or another. It's going to lead him to losing control. Huh. Interesting.
Okay. Another painting, guys. Like, Xavier and MC's scenes are always so goddamn beautiful. This could be a painting. This is such a prince and his princess, or a king and his queen. Look at that. Like, immediately when I saw that, I thought that is a runaway king and queen that have given up their titles and have just run away together, and they're on this planet, which is Uluru, by the way. And if you don't remember, this is a planet that Xavier discovered, and he told MC he wanted to take her there. And it's just the two of them, and what more can I say? It's just beautiful.
Our vow shall endure, like the universe itself.
I want this wish to last forever. All right, let's create more memories with each other until doomsday itself actually arrives.
Very, very quickly, something I noticed about the way that they're running. Let's watch this part again with their hands and watch
I love this running scene. Okay.
very carefully.
Let's create more memories with each other until doomsday itself.
So, I'm going to play that one more time.
Memories with each other until doomsday.
So what actually happens is I think Silus is actually holding her hand at one point, but then he grabs her wrist instead. And this reminded me so much of what we learn about in the main story. When we learn about Silus and MC's past, where when they were kids, they tried to escape the facility they were in, and Silus lost her during that escape. And he's forever been searching for her. So I feel like that was Silus grabbing her wrist to make sure this time he doesn't lose her. And I love the idea that they're both just jumping into the unknown together. Again, this reminds me of the fact that it's probably a protofield and they're going back to the real world now, but they're jumping in it together as possibly husband and wife, if that's the way you want to interpret it. But that just reminded me of that moment, and I just thought the weight of it all really means so much to them. And to Silus as well, working through that, I feel like this is very healing for Silus. And MC obviously as well, but it's very healing.
Itself actually arrives.
Every second of our lives
Peanut butter and jelly sauce, guys. The more I watch this, the more I want all of the freaking cards.
must be shared, starting from this moment. From now on, the ocean's waters flow for you.
Okay, one thing to point out here is Raphael and that veil. So it reminded me so much of the sea god myth, where there's a moment where Raphael is looking for her in the crowd, he finds her and he lifts up her veil. So I think, again, that's going back to his myth as well, and rewriting the myth and reframing it so that they're able to actually have a ceremony and be happy together. So yeah, that, again, so beautiful, and I cried throughout the whole thing. I just love the idea that they're going back to all of these tragic places and rewriting their stories and healing from it. So yeah, there's a lot to be said. Now, I'm not going to go through the rest of the things here. I think we'll be here forever if I do. But I just really wanted to talk about what we saw in all of those scenes, because I think there's a lot of symbolism there, a lot of things to take away. The one thing I would say to you guys is watch all of the myths if you can. If you're going to pull for this banner, or you're going to watch these cards when they get released, for all of the love interest or for some of them, just remind yourself of the myths and then make comparisons as to how they've changed the myths, how they've reframed them. Because I can kind of tell from this what they're trying to do is heal from all of that trauma. I almost feel like this is a response to my videos where I was talking so much about the trauma they all faced that they went, God damn, we've got to give them some hope here. But this game is love and depression. We know this is a precursor.
See, love and depression, like everybody calls it that.
To something that is inevitably going to break our hearts later on. So yeah, I just wanted to talk through that. Sorry for going off on a few tangents there, but I really...
No, it was beautiful. It was so beautiful, Maz. Thank you so much for this video.
Really had to get my thoughts out there about this because I had so many. And yeah, I would love to know what you guys think. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Did you spot anything that I might have missed? Were you making some connections that I might not have spotted? And how do you feel about this possibly being a reaction to the Spatium core or some kind of protofield energy that's gone on? Because I really think the fact that these are all settings from their myths means something. It means something happened with the characters in each of these stories that led them to these places.
Yeah.
So let me know what you guys think. And once again, I'm really glad to be back. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay frosty. I
am so excited for all of her other videos. My God. Okay, so that is pretty much the video. Man, Cyberspace Maz is just she's so smart. So smart. I loved this deep dive. I am excited for all of her future videos to come out about the spicy banners and all of that. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe she's gonna do something for the different cards that come out for this particular banner, because if this is a whole reframing of all of the different myths, I feel like it's a nice little, tying the bow on all of the love interest, kind of finding closure and stuff. So I think this is going to be really, really nice. It's going to be something that is just super wholesome, super butterflies in the stomach kind of feel. I'm very excited, guys. I'm very excited. I am definitely going to be pulling on this banner, and we're gonna see how many I can get. We're gonna see. Alrighty, well, thank you all so much for watching. If you've watched this far into the video, why not leave a firework down in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. I am Lynn, the Gacha Goblin, and if you haven't already, go subscribe to CyberMaz. Alrighty, bye bye.